Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, joined once more by Phil and Dave for a very special discussion. We are talking today's major panels at Star Wars Celebration. This is the Mandalorian, brackets, and Ahsoka, alongside Tales of the Jedi. And we have a lovely report from a couple of people we have on the ground. Thanks for Dina and Jack, before we do the intros, for sending us in some same amount of details, photos, and everything in between. But before we start to get into the groove of things, we've got a lot of people in the chats. I want to ask Lee, this morning, Dave, how are we doing?
Very well, thank you very much. It's weird to be doing one of these quite so late nights. It's been a long time since the celebration video at this time of the evening. So yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to be here to talk about celebration. Well, what we've seen or what we've actually read more than seen, to be honest. But we'll get into that, I'm sure, as we go down this.
Yeah, and Phil?
Yeah, indeed. Last time I think we did a video this late on celebration, you were our man on the ground. So it a little while. But
I just remember dialing in. I think bit behind the scenes, like, was it Google Hangouts back then? Like the link would be shared in the chat.
It was, yeah.
I just turn up and be like, "Hey, I'm walking the floor in Chicago." Unfortunately, I haven't this time around. We have a Dean and Jack there, and have been absolute savers. I've managed to get the Hello There t-shirts and the I Don't Like Sand t-shirts. So I'm on a 2 for 2 of merch I was desperate to see. But we've got a lot of people in the comments today. Some really weird stuff about the what's it called? Not Book of Boba Fett. Whatever Boba Fett falls into, magically survived. I'm not going to bring that. It's just a little bit weird. I'm not going to lie. And before we get into that, I actually want to, Dave, you made a comment very briefly about the, I guess we could say, the fact we've had to read this. We've had to have people talking about stuff and all that. Another, I guess we could say, like 3 major things today, none of which have been streamed for people to view at home, and that's the Celebration Mandalorian stream, the Tales of the Jedi stream, and not even the cosplay competition was streamed, which like surprised me. That's the most like fan-orientated one to do, visual one to do, and none of these have been put on the Star Wars YouTube channel. But yeah, I don't know. I'm in a weird state. This. How do you? I'll go to Dave first, but how do you think with that?
It's a bizarre one. I think we said just before we came on, it's very much been Star Wars has been this you're all inclusive, and we want you to be in the Star Wars family and watch all of this and see what's going on. Then to get a celebration and to feel kind of like, because you're not there, you're kind of being left out of what's going on. And thank the Lord that we've got people who are we've got people there who are feeding us information. People are putting up some of the panels online on YouTube, actually firing those across as well. So that's really good as well. So you are getting to see some of the stuff, but obviously you're not seeing like trailers properly. You're not getting any little glimpses that were obviously they're just keeping 4 people who are there. So it's disappointing for me to be able to kind of go, trying to report on all of this, and it's not quite the same as reading it all in text chats. So it's a bit disappointing for me.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It really has felt like, compared to years past, when we would have, like, for example, the Rogue One panel when we were there, we had the entire thing was streamed, but the little trailer we had at the end. Everything else the weekend was pretty much available. This feels like, Star Wars is all inclusive. Watch what you can, but if you don't have money to come here, then tough luck. And that's a shame. But that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, apologies if for some reason I can hear a neighbour's dog barking at 7 o'clock and 7 minutes past 12 in the night, so they're really sort themselves out. But what I have issues with this one is just simply on the basis that, take aside the fact there's been, a pandemic, pre-COVID, Star Wars Celebration was one of the few conventions where everything was streamed. Chicago, yes, I was lucky to be there, but you couldn't get into every panel, so you'd watch it on the floor. We were all in London, and we got lucky. That was streamed. Force Awakens 2015, that was streamed. Orlando 2017, that was streamed. Now, I don't know if 2013 was in Germany. I wasn't familiar with conventions at the time. Even streaming technology 9 years ago is very different to what it is now. But Star Wars Celebration has always been the convention where the fans have felt like they've come first. It is an event for fans and loads of other stuff. But it's really frustrating that nobody has been able to see anything. And I'm even going to take into the point that, okay, yeah, I had a ticket for this and I regret getting rid of it. But we had to make a choice like a year and a half ago about going to a convention during a pandemic, the point that there wasn't even a readily available vaccine when we had to make a call of going to a convention or not. And obviously, you know, I'm double vaccinated, you know, and I think both of you are. Yeah, you are both. Sorry, I don't want to get personal. But, you know, and I know that obviously there right now, they're all wearing masks. It's still part of the rules. Obviously, we don't have that here in England, but every country treats it differently as they should. Every country's in different states with it all and moving on and whatnot. And, you know, even some people from some other channels we know based in Australia, they... some of them have gone, some of them haven't, but Australia's borders only opened up in the last few months as well. And to make everyone make this call in the midst of a pandemic, which isn't a priority, you know, it's fantastic for everyone that's there. And obviously, it's a really good person again by people bailing us out on the channel, which we really appreciate. But of all the celebrations to not be accessible, it's the one that's come during / after a pandemic. Like, how it should be the other way around, right? It should be you never had access until now. And there are so many people that haven't gone because of their safety, because of maybe their country's laws, because of so many variety of reasons, and you're missing out even more than you did before. So, like, yes, this isn't talking Star Wars yet, but just in terms of how we felt, we're on day 3. A lot of us have been watching this at home. You know, we had the Attack of the Clones panel yesterday, and so many other stuff. It just feels so weird compared to normal, and I just think, you know, some of it's missing. It feels like some of it's missing, and you know, Carboni, Andy Gutierrez, Hector Navarro, Chris Baber, all the people hosting as normal, doing a fantastic job in that regard. Yeah. But you know, it's the actual event. The organisers read Pop Lucasfilm. I don't know who's in charge of saying you can't view it at home, but it has been a struggle. But that being said, we can actually talk about it now. As you said, they're reading more so than watching. The Mandalorian panel was today, and this is one we knew about from the get-go. I think when the schedules came out, we knew Saturday is Mandalorian Day. We know it clashed with the Champions League final, amidst many other things happening. And, you know, we thought, okay, great. And, okay, no, it wasn't streamed for us, which instantly killed it. A lot of people in there posting on social media, which we appreciate being able to follow it. But there were 13 chairs left out. And this is how it's been going. We have to see how many chairs there are to try and figure out who might turn up. And I guess we can say Filoni and Favreau were first out. 2 of them spoke about, you know, I mean, these two, if you've seen them across the weekend, they are walking around like sort of gods at the moment. And this is what I love about the producers of Star Wars. Like, they go to an event like Celebration and they're just so up for it. Like, it's a lot of fun for them to do, but it's almost like they know the reception they're going to get, not arrogantly, but like they're taken aback by how big this show is. And I think this is one thing The Mandalorian, like, we all knew it would be big. We all know it was Star Wars. It would be big. But to me, I did not see The Mandalorian being the biggest show on TV. I didn't think I ever saw that until the day it came out. And that wasn't a criticism of the show, the hype, the build-up. It was just, I didn't know how Star Wars would translate into a live-action series. And The Mandalorian has blown everyone away. And just getting these two on stage talking about producing. And I guess we say Filoni said that he wants to do more Star Wars TV. You know, we're getting a lot more Star Wars TV, but how do you both feel with sort of how big Mando's got now in literally not even 3 years since it debuted?
It's crazy to the levels at which Mando is now held in esteem around the fans, especially that it took to heart straight away. I mean, yes, the fascination behind Grogu really helped that on getting that in the first episode. I think Filoni was saying that about the trailers, the spoilers that were getting out. He's so glad that Grogu was in the very first episode, because otherwise they did feel that would get out there as well. But I think it's really grown its fans by being what a lot of fans had wanted for a long time, a live action show with not a green screen sort of thing, like getting back to miniatures and getting back to sets and things like that. And I think obviously it's a big TV screen, but still, you know what I mean, like getting back to a practical in-camera show. And this works so well. And the panel after that kind of mentioned how good the actual technology is, but it's just that it's taken a big space, and now it's kind of that Mandoverse that they're kind of building around, where you've got the Mandalorian and you're getting the offshoot of Ahsoka, and we're going to get the offshoot of that to other shows as well. The Skeleton Crew show that's going to be around the same era as well. So there's a lot coming around it. So it's become this massive thing.
Yeah, I'm much the same opinion. It was a case of we knew the hype was there. We knew it would be big for fans. It's what we always wanted, but we were the anticipation was there. Again, it was that fear of how well will this be? And the thing is now, we go forward 10, 15 years time. You tell someone that, no, Star Wars didn't always have TV shows. When we first started watching it, there were 3 films and 3 films only. And now you have all this. It's very hard to now think of Star Wars without The Mandalorian. And it's only been, as you said, 3 years. That's how, for me, I can tell how successful it's been. I can't think of Star Wars now without thinking about The Mandalorian.
Yeah, and this is a great point, really, because you think of, I'd say, I know we had the holiday special, if that counts or not, but live action Star Wars on TV, we know George Lucas spent many, many years trying to develop it, knowing that the tech wasn't ready, the budgets couldn't be done. And obviously, some of those stories became films, i.e. Rogue One, Solo, and many of the concepts have been explored elsewhere. And it's just amazing we're here in this new digital age, and obviously we can say go watch the gallery on Disney Plus. I'm sure most of you have commenting on this, but it's one of them where it's really interesting to see how it has developed, and looking at it now that we're watching Kenobi as we speak. We've had Boba Fett, we had and having the Mandalorian, we're getting Ahsoka, which was clearly going to be animated, which is now live action, and it's incredible how, I don't want to sit here and say it's easy to make them. It's absolutely not. But the fact that they can just have an idea and say, you know what, we're going to do this as live action now, not as animation, that shows how much the technology has moved on for these people to come on and make these shows and films and stuff. And it's just incredible seeing what we might get in the future. And I guess saying that in mind, that Pedro Pascal then comes out with this stage absolutely erupting, losing their mind again. He's not been here in 3 years since 2019. And, at the 2019 panel, I love Pedro because I'd watched him in Game of Thrones and Kingsman and some other stuff, and I knew he'd be cool. But seeing where his career's been with The Mandalorian, knowing that he's playing Joel in The Last of Us next year, which is like one of my most anticipated shows already, he's become like the dad, and he even jokes about being the dad of Star Wars now, and he wants people to call him daddy. He's so in on it. He absolutely loves it, and that's what you want. You want someone there like representing the series that he's leading.
Which after the purported rift between him and Favreau and the whole helmet,
it was never true. It was never true. That was all Grace Randolph, all nonsense, as she always is. If anyone watching subs Grace Randolph, then honestly you don't have a clue and need to reevaluate what you watch on YouTube.
Exactly. What the point is, though, to go from when that was purported and people believing it to the actual reception he's now got, you can see the truth behind it. You can see he does,
and he's still wearing the helmet.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's just, with him with it, it's, how can you not enjoy that leather? Like, how would you not enjoy it? And, I guess what we've said a lot with Hayden and Ewan doing the press tour for Kenobi is that they've had that enjoyment, especially at Celebration. Like, that prequel generation is watching them. That Ewan's talking about fart jokes on a stage is something I would not have thought about 5 years. Considering that 2017, of course, Ewan wasn't there at all. I mean, he probably would have been if he could, because he was clearly wanted to come back, but it's again, as this prequel era has grown up, and I think what we're going to get now, 10, 15 years down the line, a lot of people's entry point into Star Wars is going to be The Mandalorian, along with the sequel trilogy, maybe. But The Mandalorian is, I genuinely think, going to be one of the biggest, not properties in Star Wars history, but The Mandalorian to me is as big as the films now. And I don't think the other shows will have that yet. There might be shows in the pipeline we'll never know. Who'd have thought in 2008 the Clone Wars would go on to be one of the most beloved things ever done in Star Wars?
Mm-hmm.
In 2008, and it is just, patience is key for stuff like this. And I think what's also a really important thing is that it wasn't just Pedro Pascal playing the Mandalorian. We had Lateef Crowder, and Brendan Wayne coming out. If people are unfamiliar with those, again, they're as integral to the Mandalorian as Pedro. One of them is I think what is one the double and the other the stunts for him. But
when he's just doing the voice, a lot of time they've got 2 extras who fill in the suit and do obviously shots. And if obviously Pedro's not available, they're all his sort of size. He says he also, one of them was his stunt double for the Kingsman as well. Yeah. One of them. So there's 2 guys who come in and fill in for him when obviously, and he'll just record his voice later on to put over it. But it's nice to kind of have this shared role, and he has a shared experience with these people as well. So, and I think it's not something that is like, I don't want to do this. It's just like, it's easier if he can go off and do his stuff. These guys do an excellent job. He hasn't got any problem with them filling in, and then he can record over and be there when he needs to.
Yeah, and I think as well, like when you've seen them in the gallery, like they work. You can never tell when it's one or the other. I think so many shows, and maybe it's because they're wearing helmets, but you'll know when a stunt double's on screen, and it's so obvious. Like the physique might change or the movement is off, but they work so well as a trio, and they've all said this that they know the movements, they know how they're going to act, and I think when the good question is, is that Pedro in the suit? Because we never know. I think did Bryce Dallas Howard say in her first episode, it was chapter 4 or 5, sorry, I can't remember season 1, the Seven Samurai thing of the. So she said that he basically wasn't on set at all in that episode, and you'd never have known that because that's how well they've sort of stepped in for him. And a really good, as much as we sort of moaned, a really good shout out to Celebration is that they have these out with him. They're making sure that they are being applauded with him, and it kind of reminds me at this point of like Dave. I don't know, it's a bit unfair to compare it to Prowse and James Earl Jones because one is intrinsically the costume and the other the voice. But again, like the people that aren't the lead need the recognition and deserve the recognition. And I guess you've got the whole animated stuff with the Ahsoka, which we won't get into tonight. But there's so many discussions about how do you treat different performers of characters and whatnot. It's just great to see them all united together.
Yeah, and for me, as a little thing is the fact that as anyone who's watched us in the past will know that I'm big into the comics and book side of Star Wars as well. The Mandalorian has got its adaptation starting at the moment. It's a 6-part little series. The issue 1 of that has had more variant editions and offshoots than I think like 80% of other solicitations, and the more variant editions there are, basically the more this thing's going to get. Value wasn't creep up, but the fact that also the High Republic and Star Wars issue number 1 were the 2 highest printing Star Wars comics so far, and I guarantee the Mandalorian will be up there for taking one of those top 3 spots because it is already so popular. We had 5 first printings for the High Republic of just the main printing, let alone anything the variants offshoots. Star Wars itself, similar thing. I think the Mandalorian will do the same, and it's that testament to Pedro Pascal and of course those 2 doubles. And the nice thing is though, with them bringing them on stage, both of them, is the fact that he's then giving them that airtime, their recognition in the public eye, which for stunts and for people behind the scenes, they don't always get that. So it's nice to him to actually go, here you go, here is the Mandalorian, but not just me, it is the 3.
Yeah, 100%. And some other people that also came out, so I'm checking the news that we don't get any major reveals on the stream. That'd be pretty insane. Jedi Fallen Order, just randomly getting a trailer release, no panel, no nothing. Just, we'll stick it with Attack of the Clones panel.
Here's Jedi Survivor. Sure.
Yeah. And like that needed a panel because there was just floating theories and everything. And that's a weird one. That's another discussion. But speaking of villains, Giancarlo Esposito comes out alongside Carl Weathers to get the hype going. Carl Weathers thinking it's like a football game. The atmosphere is so good in the crowd. I mean, it's Apollo Creed coming out to a full crowd. We weren't there, but last time at the panel I was at, he was doing the whole Rocky stuff. I want you, and he knows how to whip up a fuss. But we know he's directing an episode of. Yeah. Is it season 3? He's directing one episode, or was he already?
He did confirm. Yeah, I think he was doing another episode. He did one in season 2, and he's confirmed he's doing another one in season 3.
And I know we can say that yesterday or today it got announced. Honestly, it's been an absolute mess with Star Wars. That all my life has been the last few days been Star Wars. I don't know what's today, what was yesterday. But Bryce Dallas Howard, as we expected, is confirmed for another episode of The Mandalorian. That is not surprising anybody. She's got to be involved with that. And we'll just very quickly jump in and say that Rick Famuyiwa came out, who didn't say if he's directing an episode in season 3.
Exec producer now.
Now exec producer, which I really like. I like his episode. I think I saw Dope, one of his films, which is very good. I recommend that to anyone to see. But the fact that the exec producer credit in TV is a fascinating one. It's not like film. Film is just your name. TV genuinely does mean an input, and I think it's great that as much as this is Filoni and Favreau's show, they are bringing in the regulars that are involved.
It's why I like feels being for Kenobi being the producer as well. It's that. I don't know what you mean. It's that same feels, that same family, and also with Filoni and Favreau having so many other projects, someone they know they can trust with the reins. Come on, it's a perfect fit.
Yeah, and what do you both think of him? I mean, do you think he'll have an episode in season? I know he's just done a documentary on basketball. I don't know what team it was, but that was on Apple. That got good reviews, and I think
the 80s Lakers, I think, or 70s Lakers. Yeah. There's the Magic Johnson Lakers.
And it's just great that they're involved. And again, with him, it's the one thing Star Wars, the shows have been able to delve into more is that representation behind the lens and the direction. And I know the conversation is slowly heading towards, will we get them on films? Obviously, we didn't get any film news, but a vague comment about the Taika being the next film, which we still know. But at the moment, Deborah Chow leading her entire own Star Wars show, I would be very surprised if Bryce Dallas Howard at some point isn't just confirmed for a film or her own 6-episode series of something. Give her whatever she wants.
Give her Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, I would much rather see her than Patty Jenkins. I'm not going to lie, 100%, especially after watching the absolute shambles that is Wonder Woman 1984 that was 2.5 hours long and wasted Pedro Pascal, I'm going to add. He was the best thing in that film, but he was incredibly wasted. But sticking with Mando panel, again, not much of a discussion, boys, but Emily Swallow came up playing the armor again. Great to see her getting some recognition. Yes, she's been in a smaller role, and we haven't seen her behind the helmet, but she is quite important to the show. And she is regarded as, one of the key people of the series, and she even pops up in the Book of Boba. So again, it's right that she's there alongside Tamora Morrison. Do we do a really quick, unfiltered segment on him being the star of the Attack of the Clones panel?
He is absolutely loving life right now, isn't he? He's just having the best of times.
It's when he comes out with his phone in yesterday, it's like he's not like the dad of the group. He is everyone. Just it was like everyone that's come into like a group photo. And he's already got the phone out, going around. And apparently today he came out and did the hacker. He just did the hacker because he can.
Of course he did.
And I just think he's an absolute legend. I love the fact he's back in Star Wars as Boba. I love the fact that I know he'd done conventions and celebration in the past, but he's getting the limelight now. And I think I messaged you both yesterday. I said that they just need to give him his own panel now, because I'm going to say this about the Attack of the Clones panel. Until Hayden and Ewan came out, it was bar Tamura and Daniel Logan. I think it was an incredibly below average panel for the anniversary. Not going to diss on it too much, but the 20th anniversary Phantom Menace one. Do you remember you had the ILM stuff first, which was great. It was behind the scenes, then cast, and then no one. Whereas this one was like, here's everyone, but then there's going to be Hayden Ewan, and I don't think it worked as well. But Tamora Morrison and Daniel Logan were the absolute stars of that.
I cannot wait for the 20th anniversary of Episode 3. That's going to be
if there's a celebration. Do you think George Lucas might turn up to one of those? Because his video intro was even shorter. His video intro was even shorter for Episode 2. It was like 30 seconds, like, hi, it's the anniversary, thank you, see you in a bit. Episode 3 panel, though, I think it's whether they're going to get Natalie in, which I just can't ever see. I know we've said that a lot about Star Wars in the past, but, when they're literally in Anaheim and we still don't have her. Revenge of the Sith one would be mega, and I think they know it too. I think Hayden Ewan coming out for 10 minutes was kind of expected yesterday, and I just love them all to do just an outright, here's everyone involved in this for just 1 hour. But I'm just going to go back again to Tamora Morrison. He's just funny, and he's not trying to be funny. He's literally the dad, isn't he? It's dad jokes. And what did he say? Obviously he gave a really nice tribute to Jeremy Bulloch, which I really appreciated. And he said that on the convention circuit he got to know him really well, and he used to go around shouting, who's your daddy, which is just incredible. And little Daniel Logan, just you could just hear him laughing every 30 seconds. It was just again, that was Tamora Morrison's panel. I know he came out today and we should be talking Mandalorian, but here's a question for you both. Do we think we'll get Boba in season 3?
Yes.
Yeah, I think with Phill as that, I think he will show up at some point, especially if they're going back to Mandalore. I think it would be important for Boba Fett to kind of show up there and maybe reclaim. He obviously reclaimed his armor with the chain code that he had, and that Mando said he was a true Mandalorian. But I think it'll be important for him to also be there at some point in that battle or whatever goes on there. I think it's important that he turns up.
Phil?
Yep, 100%. I completely agree with Dave there. I think it's not this inevitable. I think it'd just be that discussion of whether he is, whether he isn't, has gone on for so many years that they kind of really should put it to bed. And I think with him going back to Mandalore, we will see that. And we might as well, at that point, then kind of talk about that, how we know about that.
Yeah, I think as well. I was going to say something really good, but I've literally just completely... Oh, no, this was it. Can you imagine if we get an episode of Mandalorian that's actually just the book of Boba Fett?
Yep.
Can you imagine?
bit of revenge there.
Just imagine social media. That would be incredible. Honestly, that would be just so funny. I know it wouldn't happen, though. Yeah, let's talk something. So we got a trailer that hasn't leaked. Probably has, actually. No, it has. You can watch the panel online in full. Dave has a link. I'm just going to say, go follow him on Twitter, Dave Ryan. He will send you a link to YouTube. It's not on our channel. We're not going to get pulled, but it's technically in that panel. But, you know, again, it's extended from the other day. But I guess we can say it then evolved into a mini Ahsoka panel. They keep calling it the Mandalorian still, but Rosario Dawson's come out and she said that they've been filming for 3 weeks now, which we all kind of knew that it was in the very early stages of production. And then what surprised everybody is them dropping a teaser trailer off the fact it's been filming for 3 weeks. Now, I have the trailer. I haven't actually viewed it yet, but I have made sure that you two have seen it. It's just I was watching it came out like 1 minute before the game kicked off, so I just didn't press play.
Yeah, that one isn't there.
Oh, I sent the video of it.
Yeah, it's gone. It's already down.
Wow.
No, not the YouTube link. The actual, I've got it downloaded.
Oh no, I didn't see that one. No.
Okay, right then. I'll make sure that's resent. So yeah, this is the key. I never press play. I just hit download first. Get it safe. Get it locked in.
Is it safe?
It's been like Disney coming from my phone now. Like, what have you been doing?
I mean,
like, no.
They're calling it Ahsoka, but I think it should be Ahsoka in brackets Rebels Season 5. Is generally what seems to be that we're actually getting here, guys. Season 4, sorry, Season 5? Season 5, yes, would be. 5. And I mean, the trailer did show in a very quick glimpse that we saw the return of Hera. You see the back of her walking your room with Ahsoka. And we also had one of my favorite things that came out of that panel. We got I don't know if it was in the actual trailer, it's just a photograph, but it's the back of Sabine's head, live action, but looking at the mural from the final shot of Rebel Season 4, done slightly different to live action-y it up a bit, and honestly, wow, absolute goosebumps when I saw that. I mean, that's what took Ahsoka from, we're going to see an Ahsoka show where she's after throwing him, maybe Ezra will show up. We are getting a sequel to Rebels in live action, and blew my little hippie mind.
I wonder if he knew about that before Series 4 of Rebels. We thought it was going to be... We knew it ended at something, but we didn't think it would be 4. We thought it would be 5. 4 felt like, hang on a second, there is more here. And of course, the ending was very open, and now we kind of know why.
Yeah, it's one of them where, like, what was always the rumor of the show? The Search for Ezra, that's like the unofficial fan name, the animator. But the fact they've recreated some of those moments from the epilogue of... Do you reckon that would probably even be the first scene of that series? Yes, and that's what's insane. And I know that Filoni actually thanked the fans, saying that so many people have gone out because of the Mandalorian, gone backwards and watched the Clone Wars and watched Rebels, and he sort of gave everyone a thank you for using the live action shows to check out the previous work. Which
I wonder if they could do it in the style they had for Series 7 of Clone Wars, which is Season 1 of Bad Batch, where
they've adapted it in
so they did reverse that, which they took the live action, put it into the Clone Wars animation style. They could do it the reverse here by taking the end of the prologue, so epilogue in animation, turning that into live action.
I think that could work. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do it, or if there was like a teaser down. I mean, D23, we might get more footage. Maybe we might get an official reveal. A lot of stuff is being kept for D23. I think the Mando trailers are the same. That's Disney's flagship convention, and they will want everything. I think Indiana Jones, Ahsoka, and Mando will all be first reveals there. I think obviously that's September, a bit closer to their airing dates. But I mean, with that, obviously you mentioned Rebels. We know that obviously we've got Chopper. He came out on stage. And then Natasha Liu who we knew had been confirmed as Sabine, is officially confirmed as Sabine. But the one gaping question we didn't get, and I think this is the one we would have had this weekend, no Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Pierce Brosnan not available this weekend. I'm going to keep saying it until we get anything otherwise.
I'm not going to moan because we weren't in there, but I just thought if there was going to be any casting this weekend confirmed, it would have been Thrawn because there's been so many different rumors. Obviously, the Brosnan photo, is it Lance Mikkelsen, who obviously voiced him.
1 day left.
We're not going to get it on a Bad Batch panel though. Like that would be weird. Unless Thrawn was in the Bad Batch.
We had Aaron Aldenreich for Celebration 2016 in that.
Yeah.
No, we already knew it before going into it.
But they did. That was called the Future Filmmakers panel, not the Bad Batch and closing ceremony. It's a shame they never brought that panel back. It was like the inverted opening ceremony, wasn't it? It was so weird.
Yeah.
And obviously, you got the two directors that got sacked, and probably loads of people down the line. Phil and Chris, although they did get to then make Spider-Man, which I cannot complain about. But the panel ends with Grogu coming out. I know that the big Mandalorian exhibition, if anyone's seen footage, is absolutely incredible. They've got loads of props from the set scenes from the studios. They've got the N1 starfighter in full person with Grogu inside of it. And apparently, if you call over to him, he looks and turns to you, which means that some poor bloke is just working the entire weekend on Grogu puppetry from above. That looks incredible. And that's a real treat for everyone that is attending this. So if you are watching us for some reason and you're there, go and get yourself booked in to see that because it looks insane. The Rancor's heads. And it's stuff that you get to do because it's practical and live action. And who knows, in a year they might have a Kenobi one to do. And you might get other things. I don't know, like a random hanging Benny Safdie. But that rounds out the Mando panel. I know it's been 30 minutes. I thought it'd be short for some reason, but it has been fun so far. But to me, we're getting to the main event now. If you'd have told me a week ago a new animated show was going to get announced, and I would be looking forward to this more than some of the live action projects, I would have honestly laughed. Tales of the Jedi. Now, I don't know if any of you two heard about this before today. I know they've announced a kids show yesterday, which is High Republic, which isn't this, which I was surprised there wasn't any footage of also. But
yeah, I'm glad there wasn't. I'm super excited for that because High Republic got this. But yes, George, continue.
Tales of the Jedi. I mean, I think it was last week the rumors came out that there's going to be a show potentially prequel based, potentially set in the Clone Wars, and it will be about certain members of the Jedi Order or something. And I was like, I don't really understand what this is, but I'm kind of curious. And when they announced it was going to get its own panel, I was like, okay, we're actually getting a new animated series. Now, I've not seen Star Wars Vision still. I've heard some really good things about some of it. Again, like any anthology series. Yeah, it's more the fact I didn't not avoid it. I just never got round to it and still haven't. And I think because I had a bit of a break last year by Bad Batch, I do want to watch it because I kept seeing merch when I was out the other day for it, actually. They've got pops of it, which surprised me. A new animated series, Dave Filoni on stage. This is all Dave Filoni's baby. And which I want to say, I know they spoke to him about it. It's really cool. He's back doing some animated stuff that he is doing. Yes, he's live action. He's moving slowly onwards. He's not forgetting the capabilities that animation has. And the origin for the series is that they were filming Mandalorian brackets, I'm guessing season 1. And he just said whilst he was on the plane going to and from, he'd be writing stories, short stories about characters. And then he just showed it one day to Carrie Beck. I'm guessing this is going to be the first episode about Ahsoka, which we'll get into. But he showed it to Carrie Beck, and she said that she'd like to make it, but they need more than one story. And thus the idea has been done. We're getting a 6 episodes series of short animated episodes, 3 on Count Dooku and 3 on Ahsoka. Before we even get into them, how are you both feeling just off the announcement, let alone any of the details we're going to go through shortly?
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Sorry, Phil, let you go.
Listen, I was super excited for it. I mean, I'd heard some of the rumors a little bit beforehand. I think they got mixed up because some of it said High Republic. So I think they got mixed up with the Tales of the Young Jedi, which is the Young Jedi Adventures, which is the High Republic one. But the more I heard, the more I was intrigued. And as you said, though, with the fact that, it's got its own panel, this is a little bit more kind of. There's got to be something to this. And yeah, before we get into the actual details, I'm excited for it.
I hadn't heard much in the way of this at all. So to get the news of a new animated series, like, oh, okay, we're getting some shorts. That's okay. Then you get the content and you go, oh, okay, yes, I am interested now. Because at first I was like, oh, more shorts. We've had the Galaxy of Ventures things, and before that, the ones that created those awful toys for the dolls. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, I purged that from my memory, but yes.
Yeah. But there was. Oh, I can't remember.
No, Galaxy Adventures, that was the good one, wasn't it? That was like anime style.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the one. I remember now. You've just made it. Yeah. To be fair, there's been a lot of animated shows that have been like 2-minute things.
Yeah, just little
Rebels.
Shorts,
Pre-Rebels, it had its own like mini short stories, didn't it?
So yeah, I was excited for this to say for a little bit, like, oh, that's nice, sounds good, and say then we got the actual what's coming in the content, and that got me really hyped for it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go through them one by one, but we'll just kickstart the fact it's Ahsoka and Dooku. So Filoni spoke about the series, saying that it's 3 stories each, i.e. 3 episodes each, we now know. But he says it's about showing 2 paths and 2 different paths and 2 different choices that lead characters to where they will go on to be. So obviously, I guess it's like a little flowchart thing, isn't it? That you're going to have Dooku leaving the Jedi Order and showing his path towards the dark side. And you're going to get Ahsoka's... Wow. Episode 1's her being given to the Jedi. Then we're going to get something in the Clone Wars and an Inquisitor, which I'm very intrigued by. But her time point, I think it's going to be 3 complete different episodes. And what I should have found out from Jack, who's been sending me all the details, is how long each episode is. I'm going to guess on maybe 10 minutes. Because I didn't hear from them for 10 minutes. But there being like 6 short stories, just picking Dooku alone to me is mega. Like I know Ahsoka, like obviously Filoni said, it's Ahsoka, like Ahsoka's his baby. We all know this, and I do think by the time Ahsoka the live action show finishes, we will have completed her character arc across all Star Wars media. I hope that doesn't sound harsh or point to me saying I need her dead, but I feel like the character of Ahsoka has reached not its tipping point. That sounds really unfair, but because she's so fully ingrained now as a Star Wars character, she's not seen as the one from animation. She is just seen as a key character of Star Wars. I don't think we're going to get too much more from her in the future. I feel like it's going to hit a point where they do move on, and they're going to have to move on. But again, like getting into this, I'm kind of really intrigued by it because so much of her journey isn't complete. But I think it will be. But how do you feel on, as I said, young Ahsoka training into Anakin in Clone Wars, and then post Episode 3, post Order 66 Ahsoka, which we haven't seen, I guess we can say.
I mean, I'm always intrigued. I think we've only got very brief glimpses of her getting given to Plo Koon in the Clone Wars, was sort of very, very briefly. It'd be nice to see her and Anakin again, whatever scene that is. The one you're right that I'm intrigued by is the one after Order 66, where we're going to catch a bit if it's between what we've seen with the end of Series 7 of the Clone Wars. I'd like to know when that's going to be set, just for her facing Inquisitor seems really, even maybe after, because it feels like it will be after where we saw Season 7 of the Clone Wars finish. So I'm very intrigued to see how her story got her to where she was at that point.
It will be set with the Ahsoka book is set. That's what it would be, because in the Ahsoka book, she does face an Inquisitor. And it tells you how she gets her white lightsabers. And it does also, unfortunately, have the ending of Series 7 of Clone Wars, which they kind of change, which it's fine. They even with Star Wars being very high in their continuity, they still managed to mess up slightly in terms of like the Kanan comic versus Bad Batch, where they went, it's kind of Kanan's memory, a bit fuzzy, for the comics.
Well,
but
they've done the George Lucas, haven't they? Where the reality is that the books and comics just aren't important enough now. Yeah, and it's because obviously you had the who was it, Cobb Vanth? They switched up loads of his origin. They took bits from the book but switched it.
Yeah, from Aftermath. Yes, they've changed a few things. Yeah.
So I think Star Wars has gone back to the old hierarchy of like film. It's like a pyramid, isn't it? Like films, probably live action shows, live action. Films, live action shows, animated shows. Then it's like games. Then it'll be like books and comics below. And I just think it's been 10 years since Disney took over this year. Like naturally, you're gonna, and you admit Aftermath being the very first book in the Disney era, i.e. the official first published one written as them, and
so Aftermath, Heir to the Jedi, and another one. I can't remember what the third one was, but Heir to the Jedi is one that people forget is actually canon, which is Luke ends up with a purple lightsaber for one book. He works out how to take it apart and goes, okay, he breaks it in the process, but he learns then for his own building later on how to go about making a lightsaber. It's a really cool little story. He also falls in love and then she dies as well. Spoiler alert. It's a good book, but it's kind of weird now considering where we are 10 years later. But yeah, it's not fully broken down like it was with the old expanded universe, where things are offshooting into 5 different versions of each ending and they get Death Star plans through different ways. Or it's very kind of, the overall continuity is still there and the influences are still there for sure. It's just a case of little details now don't quite add up. But I do think that Ahsoka that particular story will be set in the book and kind of tie it up neatly. That being said, though, I do want more with Plo Koon, that kind of interaction there. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where that will go. But the reason why I bring it up, though, George, is I agree with you. I know what you're trying to say. I think it'll be an ending, but not a she must die. It's a case of here's your beginning, here's your middle, here's your end, and that's it.
Yeah. Just a quick comment. We have Martin. Good morning. Well done, Martin. You're awake at this time. If you've just woke up, fair play to you. But always appreciate you coming on board. I know you did. Martin came from one of our spoiler discussions recently. I haven't seen the film, so just got maximum respect for Martin. I really appreciate you coming on, my friend. But sort of going off these as well. What was to pick up with Ahsoka? Now they've confirmed that we're going to get the Clone Wars voice actors coming back, so we're going to get Matt Lanter. I'm assuming we're getting Ashley Eckstein. They didn't actually specify, but I'm sure it is. She'll be our Ahsoka in real life, apparently, without delving into a bit of a behind-the-scenes politics that's been stirring on the autograph groups. That's very interesting. But aside from that, we're knowing that Iden Versio's Janina Campranza-Gubankar is playing the voice of her mother, which is kind of cool. Again, she was in one of the Mandalorian episodes, one of the chapters. She had like someone in a knitted like top. It was like a cameo that they credited her as. It's great to see her back on. Obviously, I don't know if we'll ever get Iden Versio live action, but it's great that we're still going to be able to get her in some other stuff. But just rounding off the Ahsoka stuff, or do you guys want to just get into talking about?
Let's get into it. Come on.
Qui-Gon Jinn will be in this series, being voiced by Liam Neeson, with his son, who I don't know the name of, voicing the young Qui-Gon Jinn. If we didn't already know that he will 100% be now turning up in Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mr. I don't do TV shows after we mock him for being in Derry Girls, Mr. I'm now in an animated Star Wars series, pretty safe to say I will be seeing you in live action in the next few weeks, my friend. So, listen, Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon Jinn, he's always been one of my favourite Star Wars characters since being a little kid. And I know he came back for that cameo in the Clone Wars, and we never got him in Revenge of the Sith, but to me, Liam Neeson will always be Qui-Gon Jinn. It doesn't matter what I watch him in. It doesn't matter if it's Taken, Schindler's or anything. I look at that man and I see that was Qui-Gon Jinn, like my first hero as a 3-year-old. And I think I've said to you both before, like, as a kid, Anakin was the cool one to me, but I wasn't sort of big on Obi-Wan until I was a little bit older, where you could understand the complexity of the character more. But I just loved Qui-Gon Jinn, like, from the minute we met him. And he had a green lightsaber, and he was older and cooler, and he unfortunately died. But just we're getting more Qui-Gon Jinn content. Like, I wouldn't have guessed this a day ago. If you said to me a day ago, we're going to get Qui-Gon in a TV series that's not Obi-Wan, I'd have been like, what? But how do you both think about him coming back?
How can you not be excited to get Liam Neeson coming back to voice the character? I'm almost as excited to see young Dooku as well, because that to me is absolute perfection of an era which we have not looked at all. In sort of the like your live actiony stuff and your animated stuff, and the designs that we've seen brief glimpses of, that we had some photos taken from the panel, which were really good. Looks amazing. But no, I mean, Liam Neeson coming back to voice Qui-Gon. Who else would you get? He's done it before. He's done it in Clone Wars. He appeared as Qui-Gon again, and I just think, yeah, you know what? If you can't now get anybody who would sound close to it to come and do it, if you can get him, get him. It's amazing.
The smile says it all. I don't need to say anyone. The smile says it all. Hell yeah, I'm so happy they brought him back. I mean, the whole stuff with Dooku. I mean, of course, Dooku Jedi Lost is an amazing audio drama, and they've done a book for the script for it. I recommend anyone pick up. It's a really good read. Or listen. I highly recommend actually listening to it rather than reading it. But Liam Neeson, I mean, come on. And then, yeah, I don't know the name of his son, but it's Liam Neeson's son. It's kind of like, you know how this all goes. You know what's going to be. Yeah, you've told me a day ago we're going to get this. I was like, I would believe you told me he'd be in Obi-Wan before I watched it. Now, of course, we've seen episode 1, episode 2. It's coming. We don't know when, but it's coming. But if you tell me we get him an animated show, I go, well, no, that's not. He doesn't do this. Well, he does now.
Yeah. Martin Barrett, first time I saw a big name was in Lamb, a film well worth seeing. I've not seen Lamb. I don't know if this isn't that was Nicolas Cage was big. There's been a lot of films recently, all with one-word titles, very short, about creatures and animals. I think there was one called Cow. There's been one called Pig.
Dog.
Yes, dog as well. We're just waiting on. We've had cats. Yeah. It's just a lot of these short titles. But no, that's a good question. Actually, I will ask both of you that. Do you remember the first Liam Neeson film you saw? Maybe I was the right age.
Darkman was probably my first one. Yeah.
I love the fact that he had this resurgence in the late noughties with Taken. I mean, like, yes, Batman Begins and Arnie and all that stuff, but like when Taken came out, like, that was mega, and for some reason there were 3 of them. But now he's like the tired Hazard, going to be in every action film and not marketed type role, and I just love Liam Neeson. I'm happy he's coming back to Star Wars. He's always spoke admirably for Star Wars. He's never want to come out dissing them. He's always enjoyed his experience. And what I saw was actually a photo of someone cosplaying as Liam Neeson behind the scenes. You know, the photo with the umbrella, the nose thing, the sunglasses. Someone's cosplaying that, and I think that's the greatest possible thing. And there's another one where someone's cosplaying him as a Force ghost. They've put like what looks like a blue shower cap over their body. And they're walking around the celebration show floor. So if you see those, take some photos. Martin Barrett, don't forget Bad Cop. I've not seen Bad Cop. That's the first I've heard of it. But he was almost James Bond once. But anyway, enough of the Liam Neeson hype. That sounds really unfair. Dooku's going to be on it. And I don't know if they confirmed the voice actor for Dooku. I would imagine it's the voice actor from Clone Wars. I'd be very surprised if it isn't. But what they basically showed, they showed episode 1. And they basically called the episode cute, i.e. Filoni says this was a cute episode. And then he says the show wouldn't be cute, especially if I showed you a Count Dooku one. Now, from the footage that's come out, someone said to me that it's basically going to show the splinter of both Dooku and Qui-Gon not believing in the Jedi Order. Wow. But how their split comes from sharing the same opinion but going about it in different mannerisms. Now, that I am very much looking forward to. And I'll bet you all this now. We're going to get a Ewan McGregor cameo in this series. It'll be like the end of the 3rd Dooku episode, and it'll be Obi-Wan, like just as a Padawan with Ewan McGregor's voice speaking to Qui-Gon Jinn, and I'll be completely off my chain rockers. So yeah, what do you all think? I don't know. I mean, really, with this series, I guess what we can say is that if this is going to be a hit, which I think this will, I think this could easily be something to do every year. They could do multiple characters. They could just keep doing it, but the fact it's Tales of the Jedi just means that they can just do it whenever they want to about anything they want to. And I just think as a concept, it's something really cool. It's really neat. And, going online, Disney Plus, end of 2022. Yeah, I'm all for it. I think they could genuinely have a mega show on their hands here.
If it's done right and you've got so many Jedi to pick from across all eras of Star Wars, they could go right back to High Republic stuff that they've got going now and take that and not showing the stuff in maybe the children's adventures that they're going to have, but bring some of those in. I just think it could be a really, really good thing if it gets the viewers that they're hoping. I think it will then translate to give us more and more of it.
Yeah, agreed. And of course, with that being said, do we think we'll get a cameo from a certain head of a Marvel organization / every awesome film ever happens to be Mace Windu back?
I don't think we'll get Sam Jackson's voice unless they did. Actually, that's a good question because I feel that Filoni's got a lot of loyalty to the Clone Wars cast. Like, I feel that if he wanted to, he could go out and get Sam Jackson. He could go out and get, I mean, he obviously can't Christopher Lee, but Rosario Dawson for Ahsoka. Like, I feel like if they wanted to, they could bring them in. But I also think, yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question, actually. But I'd love a 3 again. If it's 3 episodes per person, I know that Filoni spoke about them being called tome poems. That's what George Lucas has described them to him in the past.
Yeah, right.
I've wrote hundreds of these over the years. Like, he hasn't just come up with 6 episodes. He's probably got about 30, and he even spoke saying that his first concept was to learn about Plo Koon finding Ahsoka, which just we all know that would be his first concept. But then he developed into the mother story rather than Plo Koon, which probably means that season 2 will be a 3 episode structure on Plo Koon, probably leading up to his death in the ship.
I reckon we might even in the Ahsoka show actually get a flashback to proper live action Plo Koon.
Probably. What's funny that now we know that Plo Koon is the codename for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
he's gonna have to try and come up with another way, because he said that no one would not believe him that he'd try and bring back Plo Koon, but now no one's gonna believe him whenever he'll say Plo Koon's coming on set, and they'll all bring their kids in waiting for Luke Skywalker, and it's legitimately Plo Koon, and they'll all be disappointed. It'd be so funny. But, yeah, I mean, we'll learn how he got his that smile and that weird death noise. At least he let him have 2 defenses. That's what I always say. I love Kit Fisto. But yeah, just sort of wrapping up this discussion tonight. Obviously, we know it's coming out for 2022. It sounds a bit weird. I mean, say you're hyped. I think we've all really enjoyed this, but it feels like the closet announcement for the whole weekend. This has been the one that's popped up out of nowhere that just suddenly has the intrigue, and I think because it's such a unique concept, it has even more potential to just do well. It's going to be a 6-episode miniseries. It's probably all going to come out in the same day. I really hope this isn't done. If it's going to be 10 to 15 minutes, don't do it weekly. Just drop them all on the same day. And it will, like Visions, it will just be a nice thing to get people, excited for a few months. And for 2022, I'd guarantee it will be after Cassian's finished, and probably, I mean, we know Mando's February next year, but I could see this coming in December time. You see, be a nice little Christmas present for a lot of people.
It's just, it's been a good day of announcements. It's been, as the Ahsoka one especially, has kind of really hit me in the feels with the Rebels links that we're going to have. But I'm really looking forward to the animated one as well. So yeah, there wasn't a lot to the Mandalorian panel. We kind of got stuff we knew. We didn't get much more on that, really. The Ahsoka stuff was this exceptional thing for me. To be honest, maybe for the whole weekend has been the big wow thing for me. So yeah, but I just wish we'd got to see more.
That's what I thought. It's been a frustrating day of announcements because we know it's happening, we know it's there, we just can't see it, and that's been a shame.
Yeah, and shout out to the person that recorded it and just slapped it on YouTube. Just keep doing it. Everyone keep doing it because, again, even if I was there ringing you guys, say I'm there, I would be it's wrong that you lot can't watch this, because you got to think it's not your money because you're not there. There are people there who aren't winning these lotteries who then also aren't able to see these because they're not even showing them in the main room. They're being shown in obviously the 2 of the streaming stages. So it's probably even harder for people. It'd be worse if you were there and you've got no way of watching it. You can't even go on your phone and watch on your phone and you're in the building. Yeah. It's just, there's been some true issues there. But aside from that, as you said, Dave, it's been a great day for announcements. It's been a lot of fun discussing it with you guys alongside the football tonight. I'm glad we were able to get a show out. And so to everyone in the comments, Martin, Rosario Dawson, such good casting. We'll be covering Ahsoka when the time comes. But yes, and he also meant Bad Cop from the Lego movie. That's why I was confused. I was like, what? Is there been a film called Bad Cop? Love the Lego movie. Read that great theory that it's actually the first Matrix film in disguise. That's fantastic. But that's going to round it out for today's video. So comment your thoughts on Star Wars Celebration, everything you've been enjoying. Do you agree with us that it's been a struggle to watch some of this stuff, that you're issue? Are you there? If you're there and you're stupidly watching us, why? Go enjoy the stage 4, enjoy that stuff. So please do hit the subscribe button. Will there be more Celebration videos? The question is, we don't know. The last day is tomorrow. There's going to be a Bad Batch panel. We have our people at the panel. There's going to be a closing panel and announcement. Well, I'd assume an announcement of where the next one is going to be. But we'll have to wait and see to the video. And as always, if there is another video, we'll announce it on social media. So that is Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy. Links to public in that description below. And once again, as I said, thank you all for watching. Dave, Phil, for coming on at midnight. It is Sunday now for us. And if you're a fan of Star Wars, do rejoin us this Wednesday. Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 3 spoiler discussion will be live at 8 p.m. on the dot. So do join us for that one. The first 2 episodes are up. And a good night to you as well, Martin. Thank you so much. Have a lovely night's sleep. But yes, to everybody at home, thank you all for watching. And be sure to join us on the next one. Take care.